It is with deep sorrow and heartbreak that we bring you a tragic story from the world of athletics. Rebecca Cheptegei, a 33-year-old Ugandan marathon runner who recently competed at the Paris Olympics, has succumbed to injuries after being doused in petrol and set on fire by former boyfriend in a horrific act of violence. This devastating incident has sent shockwaves through the global sports community and has sparked urgent discussions about the rising tide of violence against female athletes in East Africa. Rebecca Cheptegei was not just an athlete, she was a symbol of resilience and determination. Born in Uganda, she had a passion for long-distance running that saw her rise through the ranks to compete internationally at the 2022 World Mountain and Trail Running Championships in Chiang Mai, Thailand. She proudly won a gold medal, solidifying her place among the world's top marathon runners. She also represented the country at the Paris Olympics, finishing 44th in a highly competitive marathon race. But beyond her achievements, Rebecca was a mother, a daughter, and a beloved figure in her community. On a fateful Sunday, Rebecca was returning home from church with her two children in the small town of Ndibis in northwestern Kenya, where she lived and trained. Unbeknownst to her, she was about to face an unthinkable tragedy. Witnesses report that Rebecca and her former boyfriend were seen arguing outside her house. Moments later, a horrifying scene unfolded. Her ex-partner, driven by rage and desperation, allegedly poured petrol on her and set her on fire. Neighbors acted swiftly to rescue Rebecca, but the damage was already done. Both she and her attacker sustained severe burns, though Rebecca's injuries were far more critical. She was rushed to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, where doctors fought to save her life. Dr. Owen Menak, the head of hospital, described the extent of her injuries as life-threatening. Despite the medical team's best efforts, all organs eventually failed, leading to her tragic death. The news of Rebecca's death has sparked outrage and deep sorrow across the athletic community. Uganda's Athletics Federation released a statement saying, "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of our athlete, Rebecca Cheptegei, who tragically fell victim to domestic violence. As a federation, we condemn such acts and call for justice. May her soul rest in peace." Rebecca's father, Joseph Cheptegei, in his grief-stricken state, spoke to reporters, expressing his profound pain and calling for justice for his daughter. He said, "I have never seen such an inhumane act in my life. I pray for justice for my daughter." His words resonate with a community that has been grappling with similar tragedies. Unfortunately, Rebecca's case is not an isolated incident. In recent years, there has been a disturbing rise in violence against female athletes in Kenya and surrounding regions. Rebecca's death follows the killings of two other prominent East African runners, Agnes Tirop and Damaris Mutua. Both women were also found dead under gruesome circumstances, with their partners identified as the main suspects. In Agnes Tirop's case, her husband is currently facing murder charges, which he denies, while a search for Damaris Mutua's boyfriend continues. This violence is not limited to female athletes. In December of last year, Ugandan athlete Benjamin Kiplagat was also stabbed to death in Eldoret by unknown assailants. The common thread in these cases is a failure by certain segments of society to condemn such deadly misogyny and violence. Local police in Kenya have launched an investigation into the incident involving Rebecca Cheptegei. Reports suggest that quarrel between Rebecca and her ex-boyfriend was over a piece of land she had purchased in Trans Nzoia County, where she built a house to be close to Kenya's renowned athletic training centers. While her ex-boyfriend is also receiving treatment for his burns, his condition is reported to be stable and improving. Authorities have not yet charged him, but with public outcry growing louder, there is mounting pressure on law enforcement to ensure that justice is served. Rebecca Cheptegei's death is a stark reminder of the dangers that female athletes and women in general face, even from those closest to them. This tragedy underscores the urgent need for stronger legal frameworks, community awareness, and social change to protect women from such heinous acts of violence. It also brings to light the vulnerability of athletes, who often face threats not just on the field, but in their personal lives. The head of Uganda's Olympic Committee, Donald Rukari, emphasized that Rebecca's legacy will continue to endure despite this cowardly and senseless act. Her death is not just a loss for Uganda, but for the entire world of sports, which stands united in grief and in the fight against domestic violence. The story of Rebecca Cheptegei is one that we must not forget. Her life was filled with a promise of greatness, but it was cut short by an act of brutality that should never have happened. We must continue to stand against gender-based violence and support those who speak out against it. Let Rebecca's tragic end serve as a rallying cry for justice, change, and a better world where no woman has to fear for her life, no matter who she is or where she comes from.